Welcome to the GDX Discoveries, so the Galactic Discoveries Exchange Conference, the first roundtable we're having with our esteemed guests. We have Elena Danaan, Trevor Grassi, Dan Willis, and Sacha Stone here with us. I would like to welcome you all today. And I just wanted to say GDX is a conference being held in November 2025, and we welcome the world there. It is a platform for explaining humanity's shared cosmic heritage, and we foster open-mindedness about our role in the universe and preparing for significant shifts that are coming soon and are here with disclosure. And so we are very excited to be here today. I just wanted to start with doing a little bit of an introduction with everyone here. For our new viewers, could you share a brief introduction? Can we start with Elena? Elena, would you like to introduce yourself to our viewers, new and old?
Thank you, Nabila. I'm very happy to introduce myself. My name is Elena Danaan. I am an archaeologist and also a contactee with extraterrestrials since my early childhood. I've been physical contactee and I still have physical contact, and I'm even being taken off-world physically on board spaceships. And I have started sharing my experience with the world since 2019. I've written several books because I found that it was the right moment. Humanity was awakening and was ready. So I have a lot to share about what I'm seeing, what I am experiencing, and the technology I'm exposed to. This is mind-blowing, and that will blow your mind because I'm going to show and expose the science of the technology, the highly advanced exotechnology I've been exposed to. And this is a great opportunity to share with the world. And Dubai is a great place. So for that, I'm looking forward to this.
Thank you, Elena. Yeah, Dubai is just such a futuristic city, and it's so exciting to be there. And I myself can't wait to visit that too. I would like to introduce Dan Willis. Dan, could you tell us a brief history of your journey from 2001 to now, about how you've come into this field of knowledge with the new technology that's coming out?
I'm honored to join these other incredible world-class speakers. It's a long story, but I used to be involved as a top secret military witness back in 2001 that testified regarding the extraterrestrial presence and regarding illegal secret government operations that have been going on for some time. And I've been researching science and technology, and through my dear friend Elena Danaan, that's expanded that tremendously through communications with the Palladian scientists. I'm working with an international team of scientists to quantify these technologies from another world to benefit our world, and that's the that's the short.
That's amazing, Dan. That's really amazing. Thank you. And I know some of the work is definitely inspired by Marcel Vogel and his work as well. Yeah. Um, and I'd like to introduce Trevor Grassi. Trevor, can you give us a brief synopsis of your work and your research?
Sure, yeah. Well, I'm also very excited to be here with everyone, and yeah, I've ended up meeting with Elena and Dan in the past few years, and Sasha more recently. Started talking with everyone really. I was really focused on archaeology and ancient cultures all around the world, traveling to different pyramid cultures and sacred sites, megalithic cultures, and anything related to all of that. But I've kind of had a focus on Egypt and specifically Giza Plateau. So I have a very specific focus on what's underneath the Giza Plateau because I think it's very central to all of this. But it's led me to many other fields related to that. So um, yeah, kind of just A little bit of everything related to that is what I've been getting into. So yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah,
Sweet.
I have been on your YouTube and I've seen you on several interviews as well. So it's very fascinating what you're doing. Um, and
Yeah.
and Sasha, I know your work is absolutely prolific too. You are breaking down the old structures. Can you introduce yourself to our audience as well, please?
Sure. Well, I'm a disruptor more than anything else, and a professional shit stirrer, I think is what they call it. But I can tell you, I lived in the Middle East for some years. I've lived in Egypt on and off for 3 years, 1999, 2000, 2001, because my fascination with that part of the world. I'm a student of Islam of all schools. Maliki, Hanafi, Hanbali, Sharifi. I've looked into the zeitgeist in the Middle East. And I have to say to the GDX team, I am very excited to hear and to see that some of you are that progressive, that you're anchoring these kind of conversations and voices in the Middle East, because I think it's going to be a tremendous upshift in that part of the world. I think that the Middle Eastern mind and heart and culture is anchoring a very unique nexus point for planetary upshift. And I'm very excited about that. I can tell you that my own backstory is 25, 26 years ago, I launched Humanitad Foundation after I retired from being a more radical rock and roll musician. And I set up a peace foundation. I had direct access at that time to the Dalai Lamas and Nelson Mandela's and King Hussein of Jordan and others like of that stature who helped to open doors for me. So really, between the Hashemite family in Jordan and the royal house in Alawi in Morocco, I had a number of doors open to me a long time ago, and I had access all the way up to the Grand Mufti Muhammad Salah Al Tantawi Al Azhar in Egypt, and received the benediction and blessing of the Grand Mufti. And I'm saying this because I believe that the Middle East holds keys. I think that what Elena Danaan, who's also spent time in that part of the world, in Egypt, is anchoring a key that is going to unlock some great revelations. Dan Willis plays as a very important role in that piece. I think I bring some interesting stories connected to what I've been doing at the intergovernmental level and on that playing field in what I call backroom diplomacy, which is what my foundation has done for a quarter of a century. And I have fascinating stories connected to Arks of Covenants and the sequestration of certain tombs and certain things that have been held back underground in the Middle East. And you talk about Iraq, you talk about, the Wadi Rum desert in Jordan. There are extraordinary revelations just waiting. And that's before we even get to the Sphinx and what's going on in Egypt. There are extraordinary revelations about to come up. And I think that I may hold some very interesting keys and stories connected to this revelation. So I'm thrilled to be here.
Thank you, Sasha. Yeah, it is fascinating what's happening in the Middle East right now. And I know that Egypt and Cairo has the focus right now with the world, with the Italian team and their research and what they found. And hopefully they'll join us soon. But yeah, Trevor, can you expand on some of this research that you've been doing there and what you found as well?
Yeah, well, a lot of what I've been doing there is working with my friends William Brown and Richard Gabriel, and we've all been working very much focused on the underworld of Giza specifically, but they've been working on site a lot longer than me. I've been getting into books and secondhand research for about as long, but for the past few years, we've been working there together. And they've been uncovering amazing things. So for the most part, my role in that has been making these films and documenting some of the work they've already done. But it does end up correlating with some of the work that the Coffer Project is bringing out right now, which is extraordinary, amazing stuff. But we've actually found a lot of things underground that appear to be the entrances into some of these structures that they're showing beneath the pyramids. We have some of these other pieces that are throughout the plateau that seem to be interconnected to that. So that led to me reaching out to them, and we connected last year and started getting in touch. Um, But yeah, as soon as their more recent announcements came out, I ended up being connected to that. They let me release some of their new information. So we're hoping to join forces a bit more in the future, but we see a lot of things coming out of there in the next year or so.
That's
Um,
that's really exciting, Trevor. That's really exciting. Yeah. And
yeah,
I know
we're kind of also pressing to get an excavation project permitted there so we can actually, all of this is leading to hopefully an on-site investigation where we can show people what's actually underground on camera rather than just these scans. So that's kind of what we're working towards now and possibly working together.
that's great. That's wonderful. And I know, Elena, from your work, from the Cedars book, you were there a long time ago before you were there a while ago. And I think you also worked many years in the area as well, Dendera and Valley of the Kings, and can you give us your perspective, please, on this area as well? It's so exciting.
Well, I've worked 9 years in Egypt, one first year in Cairo and area for the French Institute of Oriental Archaeology, and I have had the honor to have a work experience with Dr. Zahir Hawass himself, so that will be really nice to see him again. I've worked then 8 years in Luxor. I was assigned by the National Center of Scientific Research in France to a permanent mission there for 8 years in the Temple of Karnak. So I was in charge of the laboratory of epigraphy and training students and conducting projects. Was good fun, a lot of work. And I've learned how to to blend and merge with the population and the people. And I discovered that beyond archaeology, you have the human dimension that is as important as the data. And among people, I have learned about the ancient traditions, about the superstitions that lead to ancient stories that are not in the record. And through all this folklore, you have a sense of magic that the ancient magic is still there, is still alive, that under our feet, wherever you go, there are stuff. There are things yet to be found. And I had this feeling, especially in sacred places, the Temple of Karnak, for instance, where I was working. Magic is still there because the ancient Egyptian uh, religion was about magic, doing rituals. And as long as the rituals are not undone, they are alive for eternity. So that's why Egypt is so magic. And when I worked on the plateau of Giza, you can totally feel, and Trevor just is with me on that, you can totally feel there are miles under your feet of things that are alive, cavities, presence, an energy that is not coming from the rock or from the earth, but from something else. I had also opportunity to go for a little visit under the Sphinx, and that's a whole story, where I could see rooms and technology in it as well. So that's I totally look forward to the unfolding of the discoveries that have been going on the Giza Plateau, because this is just the beginning.
I agree. I totally agree. This is just the beginning, and humanity is ready for this discovery information and the technology that's lying await for us for millennia, maybe. Who knows? Yeah, this technology is amazing. And Dan, the work that you're doing is so fascinating and amazing with the crystal technology, and you're developing of the frill generators. Can you speak a little bit about that work that you do?
Oh, the frill generator. Let's see. It's one of several technologies that have been shared. It's actually the basis of the technology that the Palladians use to power their entire planet, the planet Era. We have the science team has actually taken the specifications that Jen Hanaredian has given us and have recreated a frill generator, a small one, which we presented to the public back in 2023. It's still in need of development. The frill generator, as the name implies, it generates frill. Frill is considered like the life force of the universe that comes from creator source. And they it's very beneficial technology. It's very different than the type of electrical generation that we use, that we send over wires and has electromagnetic radiation. It's more working in harmony with the laws of the universe. Um, the frill generators on their planet are these large pyramids that, by the way, happens to be the same exact angle as the Great Pyramid in Giza. And inside the pyramid, there's a large crystal that's cut to specific geometries and wrapped in two uh, coils of copper and silver and pulsed with the resonant frequency of the crystal. That what it does is it creates a torsion field that opens up a singularity vortex. And through the singularity vortex, it's like a quantum connection directly to source. And because of this connection to source, frill emanates from this. And the frill is then collected in the top of the pyramid through this harvesting mechanism. And then using quantum entanglement, it's distributed throughout their cities to secondary generators that take the frill and use it to power their different devices on the planet. So much wirelessly, very, very advanced technology. Oh, an important factor is that the frill is very beneficial to all life forms. It's healing, in fact, uh, because of elements on this planet that still need to be dismantled, and due to the Prime Directive, the technology to learn how to harvest it, convert it into electrical power is still being withheld. But we can still use the beneficial aspects of the frill generation, not only for healing, but also it could be used for agriculture as well to help plants grow robustly and healthy.
Yeah, that is so fascinating because also like for the water, right? You can use the water from the frill
Oh,
to
that
water
that
the
that's
plants.
that's our main focus right now. Absolutely. We have a great science team. One of our scientists in Switzerland has an extensive background in water, and right now we're seeing some encouraging results. And our hope is to be able to scientifically share this at the conference. But if not, we'll be able to give quite a good background on some of the science that we've been learning for over 3 years, thanks to Elena being the relay to our dear friend on who's currently doing terraforming operations on Mars, Jen Hanaredian.
That's wonderful. Yeah, and it's mind-blowing for some people to realize that. But yes, the exo life and our connections are there. And it's just a matter of time. And that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons for GDX as well to come to this region, because the technology that you're developing and the institutions, Sacha, that you're doing, that you're trying to break down the systems and get things moving, it's just coming together like a lock and key. Like we're just ready to go, soon. And we're very excited about this. Sacha, can you speak on some of your new ventures that you're doing and maybe touch on what you are going to be bringing to GDX in Dubai?
Sure. I just want to touch momentarily on the importance of what it is that Elena is transcoding and then Dan is writing into manifest science through the Vogel equations and so on. It's desperately exciting stuff, and for me, it's more exciting because it is the next great step toward our ascension event. It is a very necessary and needful piece that invites us as a stepping stone toward the truest technology that exists, which is the human being. So the resurrection of the angelic human is the ultimate technological breakthrough that we're facing. And without this kiss point taking between the galactic planes through Elena and Dan's agency, that's what's bringing us that alpha omega point is touching. And it couldn't be more exciting because it leads us now into a resurrection of the immanent, immortal paradigm. So when Dan is talking about biodynamism and bioresonance and the importance of, for instance, this water which has been touched by God, so to speak, which is exactly what we're talking about. And what I love about my friends here is that we're all liberal, intellectual, progressive, well-schooled human beings. We've had to learn not to be afraid to speak this kind of language in pure truth. We've learned to walk through the valley of being ridiculed and having all sorts of heinous accusations thrown at us because we know that once you are standing in the light of that pure truth, the compulsion to continue to expand and to affirm and take on our position as children of God is something which is way more powerful than any ridicule that comes our way. So here we are in the Middle East, in the middle point of the planet, of this civilizational plane, and we're about to thread the proverbial camel through the eye of a needle to those brothers and sisters who are ready to hear and to witness. So I'll be doing my part to tell some stories and things that I've been involved with, again, at that level, intergovernmentally, behind the curtain. I've got some fascinating stories, which through Dutch courage, I'm now brave enough to speak in the public domain. If it weren't for my compadres here, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably still sanitize my conversation. But I'm very excited about where this takes us because it is a return to innocence. It's a resurrection of the angelic genome, and it's the mechanics of ascension playing out in real time. Very exciting stuff.
Yeah, it's absolutely thrilling to hear you speak, Sacha. Thank you. It's exactly, you put the words to the expression and to the energy there. It's just wonderful. Yes, thank you. And I totally agree. I agree. The angelic expression, our DNA, cleaning, not activating, but we do it ourselves, as Elena has said so many times. It's us. It comes down to us, our heart. This is the portal right here, and we just connect it and go. And I think that is just absolutely exciting. Thank you. I can't wait for GDX. And Elena, do you want to expand on Sacha's beautiful explanation?
Yes, well, it is the time, it is the singularity where humanity is finally liberates itself with a bit of assistance, but liberates itself because it's always the subject that needs to do the work. And this liberation, which is occurring just right now, is historical because it has been an enslavement of the minds, of the body through DNA since 332,000 years. And now, this historical moment is the switching point when humanity of Earth is finally getting to be who they are and go where they have to go because they are free, not only politically, that's just a process that has started, but also genetically. And DNA is an antenna. It's a coil, receptor, and also emitter. and it is interconnecting with our consciousness. And when we become aware of who we are, we activate these avatar bodies that we borrow. We are not these bodies, but we borrow them as a sacred vehicle to perform a mission. And we are all here at that precise moment in time. We came back, and it's a privilege to be here now, and not only a privilege, a duty to do something, to act. And that is what we are going to do, what we have started to do, each of us in our field of expertise and action. And so I am very eager to see this happening. I've been here coming on this planet for a very long time, and finally this is happening.
Yes, it's a beautiful thing to witness, to be a witness now in this present moment. I just wanted to go back to Egypt just for a little bit. Trevor, as Elena was saying, when you're walking in that area and you feel the ground under you, how do you feel about that? What is your sense of that? I know that you've also studied some of the ancient, um, like the ancient mystery schools and all of that as well. And with this technology that the Italian team has found, I mean, that resonance as well must play a part. What do you say about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've actually encountered things underground and coming up out of the ground at Giza and beyond. Combining our stories together, we have many accounts of very different types of energies. Some that are protections, you can't go through them unless you have the right genetics or energy or frequency, things like that. But there are also these energy signatures underground that this was actually the way in which Bill Brown, he actually found all these chambers was his wife was actually dowsing and using a pendulum and picking up these very subtle energies from underground. And where she would find these energies, that's actually he would bring in the GPR team through the ground penetrating radar. And where she found these energies coming up from the ground, they would find chambers. So this was part of what he started doing. It was because of the energies that they located them, but he ended up getting permission in 2006 to do GPR scans at 9 different locations on the plateau. And basically, because they had detected these energy signatures underground, they found chambers at every single one. And this was one of the things that no one was really paying attention to, which really caught my eye as far as what William was doing. But they actually did the same thing at Hawara, which is a site about 90 kilometers south of Giza. Um, and yeah, one of them that was really extraordinary was they did this scan, which was very close to the Khafra pyramid, where they're now seeing these giant structures, and they're seeing them more all over the plateau, but that's what they've shown us first, at least. There was one point where they brought the GPR equipment to scan this area. It was a few feet off to the east of the Khafra pyramid. And as it turned out, all their equipment got shut down. The computers got shut down. Something underground blew out all the equipment and all the computer programs, and they had to turn it all off for a day and recalibrate this. So it's something equivalent to what we would imagine like an EMF, or an EMP, I mean, an electromagnetic pulse that can actually knock out electrical systems or something along those lines at least. But we actually believe there might be it's another one of the things we're very interested in seeing, but we imagine it could be a sign that there's actually technology not too far under the surface in that location. But for the most part, I think we have an understanding that the further down you go below Giza, the wilder it gets, the more unbelievable it gets, the bigger the spaces you see. But with the Coffer project coming in now, we're starting to break down that barrier. And it's not just me and Bill and some of us who are really dedicating ourselves to this subject, but the whole world is now getting a chance to see something they haven't imagined before, much less seen. So I think the whole world, the consciousness is opening up to the fact that there's something bigger going on under Giza. It's not just a legend or a myth anymore. But we know that from many sources, not just including Edgar Cayce, who's the famous sleeping prophet who predicted and spoke about all these record halls and archives from an earlier age of civilization underground at Giza. But we have other information coming in, for example, from my friend Manu Safezadeh, I've recently spoken with, done a couple interviews. He's bringing forward evidence of the Sphinx being there, or not the Sphinx itself, but a lioness before its head was recarved, long before Khafre's time, and other of the Egyptians' own origin stories that they've inscribed, for instance, in the Temple of Edfu, the Temple of Horus there. So we're putting together a lot of new pieces of information right now that are putting together the story that there was actually, you know, I mean, we have some stories that I've shared in my films that do get into extraterrestrial, factors on the plateau. But more so for me, it's about discovering that there was this extremely advanced science, math, geometry, physics, which is all embodied in these monuments. They encode this very advanced knowledge that, the deeper I dug into that, the more I understood this is something beyond anything we have today, beyond our own quantum physics. It's something that actually is pulling the spiritual into the scientific and
Yeah.
starting to bridge that gap there, which is very important, I think, for us moving forward into what could be a resurrection completely of the golden age technology and knowledge, which has a lot to do with knowledge of the stars, knowledge of our connection to the universe we live in, and all of that. So, yeah, I think as
Yeah.
everyone here is saying, it's starting to pull together into something very exciting at this point.
Yes, it is. It is. It's all coming together, the ancient and the future, and it's coming together. The bridge is being built from both ends, I think, and it's coming together very nicely, I think. And yeah, Dan, I just wanted to ask you about, so with this energy, with the frill energy, and um, Elena, what we've talked about, you've talked about in your books about the frill and the Tesla coils, and then the Italian team has gone under and seen this possible structure. Um, are crystals involved in this structure as well, do you think? What is your thought on that, Dan and Elena, whoever wants to go? It's just fascinating.
Well, I think crystal is not always involved in this type of technologies. Uh, when you have a double coil to power uh, gravity waves, well, to generate gravity waves, not always need a crystal. Nikola Tesla, for instance, wasn't using crystals in his coils, but there are two different types of technologies, even several types of technologies. So that's my take on it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Elena, for clarifying that. That's a question I've had for a while, and I'm sure some of our viewers have had that too. Dan, what would you like to say about the crystal technology? Anything else you would like to add?
Okay, crystals in their culture are very revered because crystals are interdimensional bridges where they exist on multiple dimensions and densities at the same time. And water is also an interdimensional bridge, but the crystals have incredible capacities to do things. One of the gifts that Jen Hanredian has given is the understanding of the fractal core frequency formula of our particular universe. We live in a multiverse, and in a particular universe that we're in, he has given these frequencies, and these frequencies our science team is currently working with. And it can make water extremely beneficial. And one of the things that we're looking at is possibly cleaning the waters and making them healthful in Dubai. One of our science team members actually has an arrangement with Dubai to do something of that nature. So, my desire is to bring scientific credibility. As you know, the information that we're receiving, thanks to the quantum communication implant that's within Elena, is this is not channeled information. Just everybody's clear about that. This is actual communication with advanced technology that doesn't use the primitive methods that we use of electromagnetics to communicate to each other. Um, and I'm just so I'm so honored and privileged to have like 3 years, over 3 years of communication exchanges to help understand these technologies. And it's in the 1980s, I worked with Dr. Marcel Vogel because of ET interaction, which turned out it was actually a technology transfer program to our planet that an emissary brought me into. And it led me into researching with Dr. Marcel Vogel, who set up a laboratory. And the thing I liked about his work was, instead of, there were so many new age kind of woo-woo concepts. He was a full-on scientist with hundreds of patents and set up a laboratory specifically, to quantify these technologies and bring it into a scientific understanding. And that's what I really respected about the work that he did. And so much, as Elena knows, so much that Dr. Marcel Vogel was able to realize in his research was validated with Jen Hanna-Redian, and that we are now taking it, expanding this knowledge of crystal technology, which is, it may be that our planet in the future may be like Planet Era, where we no longer have, nuclear oil and coal and wires running all over the place, that we may have these beneficial technologies that, are beneficial to our planet as well.
Yes, I am hoping for the same thing. I'm hoping that we clean up our beautiful planet and we can use these technologies very soon. Everybody's hoping to use these to bring this up very soon. So thank you.
I'd like to jump in if I can. I just want to capstone something based on what Trevor has spoken to, and Elena and Dan. I know 26 years ago, I went to Saqqara Pyramid, and when it was under military purview, and I got special diplomatic access and was taken in actually by the Czech Republic ambassador. And discovered certain things there when it was an archaeological dig. And then I went to the desert of Sketis, Wadi al-Natrun, with the Coptic bishops underground into their citadels, spent time there. And I've been with the Mayan Council in Chichen Itza in 2012, done that. I spent, 3 years, like I said, investigating the Giza Plateau for my own interest, and did the usual stuff in the pyramids overnight and hoo-ha, and very fascinating stuff indeed. I'm right now compiling a book, an anthology. I hope to be the ultimate anthology on all things pyramid and pyramidological. And Dan and Elena are participating in that book, and other great minds. Trevor, I think you've been invited as well, but I'm not sure if the publisher's reached out yet. Nonetheless, what I want to say is this. In the last year, since we've been assembling these very brilliant minds to bring together the ultimate anthology and understanding from multiple perspectives, what is it about this extraordinary shape, this extraordinary archetype that acts as an axiomatic point between the heavens and the earth, between the dielectric universe and the paramagnetic earth? What is it? What is encoded in this? Well, one thing is interesting. fairly recently, I was invited to the Sudan by the general who overthrew the long-standing corrupt government. Now, of course, they're back in a civil war, and it's no go. But I was there fairly recently, invited to investigate the Nubian pyramids, and over 200 of them. Some of them twice the height and twice the age of the pyramids in Egypt. What is going on? Why is every single capstone of every single pyramid blown off? It looks as though some alien craft came down with monumental lasers and eviscerated thousands and thousands of tons of these capstones, of these pyramids. Why is the pyramids in Egypt foundationally missing the capstones? To me, this is an interesting conundrum. And I rather suspect that the capstone of the pyramid, far from needing to be rebuilt, whether it was limestone and gold or whatever, we are all crystals. This is a crystalline earth. The entire pyramid is a crystal. It's alive in that sense. Human beings are, as Dan says, we are water, we are crystal. So we are a huge cosmic orchestra of the crystalline. I rather suspect that the capstone of the pyramid is something which gets placed there by our group dreaming now as we come together with the amazing coding that Elena's bringing in and Dan is helping with, and Trevor, Charlie Zeiss, all these other great minds are framing. We're aiming our group dreaming and our investigation, our earnest inquiry into the truth of truths. And it seems to me that that is what is going to be creating the capstone to the pyramid and will ultimately reconfigure through our group thought, our group inquiry, and our group dreaming. I just wanted to leave that thought with us.
Wow, Sacha, that's a profound thought and idea. And I mean, crystals, yes, we are all crystals. I totally agree with that, and with Dan as well. That shape is a sacred geometry. It is embedded in our universal geometry. It's a beautiful thing. Elena, did you want to add to this thought?
Well, yes. every everything in creation is structured by a blueprint that is mathematics. It's a geometric mathematics holographic formula for everything. When you look at the blueprint of creation, you see dots, and these dots are part of an equation of arrangement with other dots, and that's part of the greater universal equation of creation. And all of these little dots sometimes assemble to form geometrical shapes. And it is not by chance. These geometrical shapes are radiating energy by the shape, by the ratio, by the mathematics of the shape. It's emitting energy. If it's not energy, it is emitting something that is having an effect on the matrix, the blueprint of the creation. Pyramids were used by ancient people who came from other worlds on this planet to create energy. On our worlds over there, we were using these pyramids to create energy and supply all the installations. The ships as well, sometimes when you come to a big like mothership, but especially on world, because pyramids use scalar waves, gravity waves. Okay, so it is because it's a geometrical shape with a particular ratio and it's on special point on Earth, it is gathering the gravity waves of the planet to transform them. Now, when you are not talking about stone build pyramids, but by pyramids that are walls and empty inside, and you put a crystal. Now you have a proper, highly advanced technology that is going to transpond these gravity waves into what we call frill, super powerful energy that is drawn from the ether. It just activates the pump wave of the gravity, just activates a little particle of ether that the crystal gathers and concentrate. And there's a whole science Dan is working on, and we know about that. And the pyramidion that Sacha brilliantly mentioned. In these highly advanced technologies, the pyramidion is the harvester. It's going to harvest what has been collected by either the crystal in the pyramid when it's higher technology, or either the stone masonry, the shape of the pyramid. It's all harvested in the pyramidion, and the pyramidion is going to transpond the energy to whatever device by usually quantum entanglement with technology. Or if not, if it's very more primary, like we had in Egypt, it is going to radiate like energy, like a beacon, you know. So that's what I can comment on this.
Wow, that is wonderful. Thank you for the detail on that explanation. It makes sense. It's amazing how technology, when you explain it, it just falls into place and it just makes sense. It should be like this. Should be like this. But thank you, Elena. And so the Italian team hasn't arrived yet, and that's okay. And I just wanted to say thank you for all your comments and your expertise here. And I'm just so excited that you're all coming to Dubai in November. Before we wrap up, can we just have a few words from each of you? Some words of inspiration. Dan, would you like to start?
Okay, unmuted. I just wanted to compliment what Elena was saying about the shape of the pyramid, the 51.843 degree angle to be exact, acts as a harvester for the frill because we live in a holographic matrix. And when I worked with Dr. Marcel Vogel, I worked on a camera that could tune through time. It was patented, thousands of photos were made, so it was definitely real. It proved that the nature of our universe is indeed holographic, and that there is a vector of time that you can tune through time. And that it's fascinating that the whole structure of the universe is based on the flower of life pattern. Within it, this simple pattern has the mathematical keys of the blueprint of creation. And that this is how the holographic reality is formed by these mathematical formulas that use these holographic keys that form the reality that we're in. And it's going to be the science of the future. It's going to be the science of we will no longer be using drugs and surgery. We'll be using holographic technology and frequencies and being able to tune through the vector of time to cure and heal anything. So that gives me great hope that when we come together and we all, we're all soldiers of disclosure in our own way, that we're contributing to the one idea that we're going to awaken more of the public, that there's been an orchestrated effort to suppress the technology on this planet, and that the hidden reality is that we've already achieved interstellar capabilities and contact with other advanced cultures throughout the galaxy. And I mean, decades ago. And when more of the public becomes aware of this reality, it will move forward disclosure to a point where the secrecy and deceptions that have been perpetrated on our planet will dissolve, and we'll be able to join these other advanced cultures across the galaxy. And then we'd be able to benefit from their knowledge and wisdom and their technology. And that's what that's the motivation. That's what drives me, is that we're going to bring a beautiful world that is bringing all this to light and transforms our world.
I can't wait to be there with you in Dubai. Thank you. Elena, do you have any last words that you would like to give to our audience and for inspiration?
It is time everybody just embrace who they are. It is also very important that the people of Earth realize that they are their own savior, that they must stop waiting for anybody to either save them or activate them or do whatever for it for them. It's a normal, natural process to awaken the consciousness and to realize how powerful each of us are. And this is accepting these bodies and the soul that is in it. And now, if we all accept who we are, we go within and we discover all the possibilities of these beings who we are, we discover that we have the power to change the world, the intention, the mind. We have this power to affect the matrix of reality just with our thoughts. That's why the enemies of humanity try to calcify our pineal gland, because this is the singularity through which the soul, the consciousness, can connect with Creator. With evolving, we realize that because the brain, the thoughts are emitting electricity, and the brain waves are carrier waves. And on this carrier wave, you put an intention. And when the intention entangles with the web of reality, it changes it. If you stick to the same signal for months, you're going to affect it and change it. And also, when we realize who we are, that we are, in truth, a fractal consciousness of Creator, whatever name you put on it, we discover that we do not need religions anymore, because we are directly connected to Creator, because we are Creator and we are also creators. And when this just is there, the world has already changed. So I'm looking forward to be in Dubai and share all these wonderful conversation with interesting people I long to meet. I'm looking forward to meet there.
Thank you, Elena. That was beautiful, Elena. Thank you so much. Thank you. Trevor, do you have any last words or inspiration about coming and sharing your beautiful knowledge in Dubai?
Yeah, I think Dan and Elena have wrapped it up with some good thoughts here, but a lot of what's already been said tonight really resonates with me. And it was, looking into Dan's work and Marcel Vogel's, who's been a real inspiration to me too. There are so many of these things that lock it in for me in a way that proves the ancient Egyptians were aware of this science. Like Dan says, the 51.843 degrees of the Great Pyramid slope, if that's exactly right, I think, Dan. That's we've wondered what exactly that angle meant, even though it's the only angle the sides could be at, which allows the base perimeter to be basically the same diameter of a circle that would have a radius of that height. So basically, it's the only angle that could square the circle with the structure. But we always imagined there was something else. And when Marcel Vogel is telling us that one end of this crystal has to be cut at 51.843 degrees, exactly as the Great Pyramid, you realize it must have something to do with that. And we know that there's a lot of granite in the interior of the pyramid, at least, mostly limestone, but that granite has all this quartz. And the other end of this quartz crystal is meant to be cut at a 60-degree angle, which you see in all the granite obelisks have a 60-degree angle, um, equilateral triangle, which is, again, if you lay that out, you're getting the flower of life grid in this per perfect hexagonal grid, like a honeycomb, all of these things that nature uses to balance itself out, these numbers. So to me, that can't, that's two coincidences right there that are just a good example of how we know that this technology was understood by them. We can reverse engineer the entire science from ancient Egypt if we know how to look at these angles, the harmonies, proportions that are shown, the mathematics, the mathematical constants that are woven into the structures, the speed of light and physics concepts that we find in a lot of these places. So I think the information we can pull from ancient Egypt, especially from Giza, because it's all encoded in Giza alone, really. But then there are these repetitions of it throughout Egypt that even further convince us there was no mistaking here. Every time they would encode something, they would give it to you again 5 different ways so that you would know once you caught on to it. No, this is true. This is right. This is what they're intentionally trying to show us here. We end up realizing that this whole sacred science can be revived, reverse engineered, essentially, like we would from a UFO, but from an ancient civilization. This whole science is left in plain sight for us it's left as a riddle for us to decode or decrypt or solve, I think. And it's kind of a test for where humanity's consciousness is at. But I think as we raise our consciousness and are able to start solving those codes more, we're able to bring back more and more of that science. And then that leads to us actually being able to get deeper under to find more of the technology. And there's an exponential increase between the consciousness and technology. Um, so I see this all coming together, and I think it's very, very exciting for the future because I'd say there's three real foci of this science in ancient times, which generally applies to energy technology and health or healing technologies, which are two very big ones that would obviously change the world dramatically if we had those recovered. But the third one is more about recovering actual documents and the earliest versions of some of these myths or things that later found their way into the different religious texts of the various religions we have today. There could be a lot of, obviously you want to go back to the earliest versions of these stories to see where it really started and see what changed and what ended up getting lost over time. So that's the third one, and maybe the most important is recovering our actual true history that may actually be found in written form, maybe in languages that will take us a minute to decode, but I think it could actually provide us with some very real, true history of where we come from, which leads to a type of a certain level of collective self-awareness of who we are as the human race, which is really something that can provide a central kind of meaning or purpose for humanity that could be a shared, something that brings us all together and reminds us that we're all stuck on this planet together. We should be moving towards something that's peaceful, where everyone has health and everyone has energy and everyone has a purpose and something more to learn about, because
Yeah.
I think as we've all said, it's teaching us about ourselves and our true potential and our true power. So it will be very empowering on an individual and collective level. So I'm
Yeah.
very excited.
That's
Thank you
great,
so much.
Trevor. Oh yeah, sorry. Yes, thank you. That's amazing, Trevor. Yeah, those three are so important. Energy, health, and information, and the truth for us, for humanity to bring forward. Those are 100%. Yes. Sacha, you're back. Nice to see you. So do you have any last words for our audience? You have so much to bring and share to the Middle East, to Dubai. What are your last words, sir?
Just catching the tail end of that. Excuse me, my internet ran out in the vehicle. I ran into the hotel, so here I am. The tail end of the conversation that I caught when we speak to the great riddles and conundrums and perplexities that we're facing, psycho-civilizationally, psychoculturally, intellectually, scientifically, in every sense of the word, we are faced with riddles. That is by the very nature of erupting from the binary dualistic paradigm into the quantum. It's of course it's going to be a tremendous flux, which creates tremendous kind of dystopia. But I would say this, that the simple end to the riddle, all the riddles that are laid before us, is to recognize that it was us laying the riddles for ourselves. So I am from the future. I am from the past, and that is the point of the present. The immanent flame is where the fiction of the future and the fiction of the past and the alpha and omega point meet perfectly in the living geometry of the living moment, when we become actualized as the avatars, the sons and daughters of God that we are. We can see the folly of the fiction of time. And of course, that is the greatest riddle, is that we were the ones, in a sense, laying all of these wonderful, complex riddles for ourselves, knowing that once we had recohered those great truths to source, we would have come of age. And through the awakening in the abyss, we act also as the Messiah, the catalyst to all other forms of intelligence and creation in this hermetically sealed cauldron of creation, this a quadrant of the omniverse that we find ourselves in here. So I think we're about to depart the fiction of time altogether, and that to me is what was locking in these cycles of riddles.
That's that's amazing. Yes, we are the beginning and the end. Elena, do you have anything to say about the beginning and the end and our future that's coming? And we all know it is in our deep heart, in our deep heart portals, we know. But for the audience out there that's still unsure.
I know what you are referring to, Nabila. Well, the end is the beginning. There is no and there is no end, and there is no beginning. Time is a field. We experience time as linear when we are confronted to gravity. A cycle of a planet around a star defines linear time. The rotation defines days and night. And we are in these bodies subject to linear time, but it is all an illusion that is due to gravity in the absolute. And our consciousness knows it. Time is a field. We are eternal. And when we say we are eternal, it's not because the moment of our birth is lost long time ago, and the moment of our death of as consciousness is a long time in the future. No, 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 no. We are here, and the present of the time field encompasses all the moments of the past and all the moments of the future. We are whole, and we don't know it. The illusion lies in the separation. Separation is an illusion, and when we step out of gravity with our consciousness, we attune with the soul within. We just disconnect with the physicality. We are connected to the eternity of time, the infinity of space, and the oneness of consciousness. And this is because we are the architects of time.
Thank you, Elena. Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you, for joining us and being here today. I feel very, very humbled and honored to have you here. It is an informed and compassionate and enlightened discussion in the spirit of supporting the evolution of human consciousness on our beloved planet. I just want to remind everyone that this conference is the first disclosure conference event being held in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. This conference is where the past meets the future in a most real way. And I'll just say thank you to all of you. And I just want to remind our viewers, tickets are available at the Galactic Discoveries Xchange.com. Remember the date, November 8th and 9th. It's going to be held at the Jabil Theater. It's a beautiful theater right in the heart of Dubai. And please visit the website and purchase your tickets as soon as possible because they are going to go fast, I think. Please hit the like and subscribe button so you never miss the latest information, interviews, and updates for Dubai 2025. Again, November 8th and 9th. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to our guests. A very, very humbled and beautifully heartfelt thank you to all of you. And I can't wait to meet you in Dubai. Thank you so much. Thank you.